up, Random Rockers? Doctor Strange. This is the second film in Marvel out of Phase 3 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And it's the first time we get and this is an introductory to this character. There will be some Iron Man 1 comparisons thrown here and there. Maybe not in certain ways that were thrown with Ant-Man. In fact, this is a far better movie than Ant-Man. In fact, I would probably put it pretty high up there as a film in general. When it comes to, maybe not so much, I would say, film in general as it is the Marvel as a part of the MCU. But it's definitely something that they needed to take, I guess, had to take risks in a time of dealing with super fatigue, and this film kind of does that. It does it really. Is it the better movie this year of the MCU? You at all? Nah, Civil War still has that. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't go see this movie. It is still pretty freaking solid. For sure, and I'm going to already tell you, it rocks, and this is going to be spoiler-free for now, but I will let you know when the video comes up, at some point in the video, when this will start getting into spoiler territory. This film, I wound up seeing it within IMAX 3D, and it's definitely a film that I was told that it was meant to be, and there's no doubt it's really meant to be seen that way. If you haven't found a way to see it already, at least in 3D, if not in IMAX 3D, then just do so. The IMAX was definitely an even bigger part in that, for sure. But man, especially when you were like super close. I never thought it would really get in your face, even that super close to the screen. When we were sitting super close to the screen, I didn't know what the point was at, but it definitely was like, jarring in places. And of course, because of the visual effects, some of it can be a little trippy. And some of these scenes that aren't meant to kind of be funny, they wind up being humorous anyway, just out naturally, I guess. Some of the humor doesn't hit as hard. It has slight horror imagery, but mostly because of the director have that in his craft, showing that off a little bit in places, but nothing too over the top about it. It's not like a horror film in general at all. It's pretty well your kind of your typical Marvel movie in a way, but of course far more visually stunning and didn't focus on like explosions or nothing like that. That it's clearly just about how to basically make buildings out into freaking Rubik's Cubes and turning buildings into Rubik's Cubes of some sort and using that as a weapon. That's interesting. Very trippy. How they managed to pull it off is surprising. Is even surprising in and of itself. Especially Inception kind of started off with some of that, but it seems like this film managed to take that kind of visual effects to a whole nother level and make it actually work. The thing is Dr. Stephen Strange is a neurosurgeon. In terms of, he winds up in a car accident and loses his hands. So losing feeling and nerves in his hands, which makes him hard to perform. And he's doing whatever he can via Western medicine to fix his hands, and that's not working, so he winds up going to the East. Or at least he finds out from some other source who winds up being played by Benjamin Bratt, and we will also kind of sort of get to him in a post-credit scene. And he leads him to this one place where of course he winds up learning and dealing with sorcery. There's some Harry Potter-ish elements, I guess, at least in the more adult-oriented stuff that happened in Harry Potter in the latter films, I would say, and what we might get out of Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. Kind of looking forward to that whenever I can see it, if I am going to. Freaking hunting, I swear. But yes, wow. I'm gonna. It's just, yeah, it's just that mind blowing. It's mind blowingly good, guys. It's not on the level of just feeding nostalgia and just and better, slightly better storytelling, or at least how the Russo brothers did Civil War. Basically, is what I'm trying to get at. But because that movie is still ranks up as pretty well one of the highest and most the highest of expectations that actually were met. This movie didn't really necessarily have the highest of expectations, but what was met was that, like any Marvel movie, it was going to be solid nonetheless, and it, of course, delivered on that, and delivered in ways that I could say it rocks, and it might make a top. May probably will, being how little I have seen of films, make my top 10 for sure. It won't make my top 5 that I'm aware of, but it will make my top 10. It's, like I said, see it in IMAX 3D, and there's, of course, a lot of little things and details that I cannot say in this part of the thing that I will have to say really soon. Now, and that is, we're getting into spoiler territory. So, if you haven't seen the movie, then I guess, well, this is the part where we're turning off, so bye. Keep it random, keep it real, keep it rocking, and I'll see some of you next time in either the next video or hopefully when you come back to this one. So, now spoilers. Let's go. All right, so when they came to the car crash, which was wow, you really felt that car crash. Which would have said that in spoiler free, that would have really sold it. But it's not like you need that since of other bigger reviewers. But apparently, I didn't notice it until certain people did spoiler free reviews. So I'm probably one of the only other people aside from 3 reviewers that I know of that have bothered to do spoilers. I guess, I mean, there's others, but the ones that I give a damn about. So, yes. During that car crash, apparently one of the patients that was mentioned in there was Rhodes, for those who have seen Civil War, and he turned him down. So it was kind of like, oh boy, someone's like, he kind of deserved that car wreck that's about to happen. Oh shit! So when it happened, it's like, oh god damn it! So, and of course, Stephen Strange kind of did the dick. The arcs for these characters, of course, Stephen Strange's many arcs are great. They didn't focus as much on the training, and of course, he's gone through years, so they kind of did skip over some things. And some people felt it was quick, but it worked for what this film does. And of course, a lot of nice little bitty things that, especially my one buddy I went to see this with, he was super giddy about some of the little things, even though he's not a huge fan of Strange. He knows enough about the character and some of his little things, like the cloak of levitation being sort of like the freaking carpet from Aladdin, and how it attaches to him and stuff. And apparently, I didn't notice that's what he's doing with the tear, trying to fix his tear, like trying to be a friend for him. And it was like, just stop that. I didn't realize that was what was going on. I thought he was just. But that when it came to that scene, so it didn't click for me until some people pointed it out. But that was funny. The Wong character, he has a very lack of humor, and Strange is trying to bring some sense of humor to him, and it doesn't happen until after the end of this, which I'm trying to remember the name of the main villain. It just shows how forgettable, I guess, he kind of is, despite the actor who, when he is really good at it, and just, wow. I'm going to be saying that a lot. I wish you had a counter at this point. Wow. Wow. It's a really good film. I can't do Owen Wilson. Forget it. But, yeah, Benedict Cumberbatch, of course, is solid. Rachel McAdams, for what little she has in the film, is pretty solid too. Despite everyone's griping about her being not Asian or whatever, the Ancient One, Tilda Swinton's Ancient One is brilliant, and where she performed it was, of course, solid. There's a reason why she was picked for it, because they knew they would bring out a good, solid performance out of her. And the scene and the way things were, if not for her one griping with him in that one scene, and then, of course, the thing, once the Dormammu name came up in this, there was the only other big villain that I knew that had anything to do with Doctor Strange. I knew for a fact that there was no way that this one villain already was going to get tossed to the side, just because of just throwing that name. Nobody's going to really wind up caring as much about him unless there was some certain... I mean, there's a lot of exposition, I guess, in it, but that's okay. I mean, this is a character we just started knowing, and we need all the exposition we can, especially with all the trippy stuff that's happening and the magic stuff. We're going to need all the exposition we can get. I mean, if you've bothered to watch anime, you know exposition is something exposition heavy, or Pulp Fiction, you know exposition heavy stuff is necessary and can be utilized in a fun way. And that's kind of what happens with this film, and it works brilliantly. How he's not fully, I don't believe, the real questions people are wondering is he Sorcerer Supreme yet? I don't know yet. He hasn't been mentioned as Sorcerer Supreme, though it seems like he may as well be taking up the mantle, given that the only other guy kind of left and now sort of has gone bad, or at least anti-hero, I guess, in the fact that he's just taking all these powers from all the other sorcerers, but I don't know. Unless they might wind up going power hungry by the next time we see Mordor, who was more of a nice little sidekick to him. He was never a villain in that... at all, that I can somewhat recall. I'm not very familiar with too much with Strange's own comic books, other than his origin story itself, and of course the Cloak of Levitation and the Eye of Gamagata, which was brilliant, how they utilized the time ability, and that was so funny how he used that to try to basically force Dormammu into a bargain to just leave them alone, to leave Earth alone, and completely leave Earth alone and everything, since he was CGI headed, but the only problem I had was like, where's the flaming head? Oh wait, that's right, you can't because of Ghost Rider. And I was like, geez, that's just dumb. But he was still kind of freaky enough to seem intimidating, as his character is. I mean, he's pretty Galactus boss hog and stuff, even on the level of Thanos too, you would say. Maybe not that much, but... And some people will consider, after this point he's too OP. It's like, nah, he still doesn't know what he's doing. He was just lucky that he was able to somehow master the Eye of Agamotto the way he did, and the fact that was a time that winds up being one of the time stones, the time stone, one of the Infinity Stones. Now we know where that fits in and how it's all gonna. Eventually, we'll figure out which stones are going to go where. Where with that, and we know he's gonna fit in Infinity War, and how he will fit in Infinity War, and at this point, how he will fit. And I love how when it came to questioning how Thor's universe is, it's not how they say it's not necessarily magic. This first time we actually get legitimate magic, for once, as opposed to. In a way, this film has its Harry Potter moments, but also in a way, this film could have been sort of an idea basis on finally giving us a proper Last Airbender or Legend of Korra type movie that we never got, which is a shame, or at least could lead into some potential of that we may never have, because M. Night Shyamalan fucked us over for that. Even the visuals weren't bad, it's just could have been handled better, and maybe this director could do something better with it. Who knows? Regardless of that, I mean, and the end credit scene, I mean, all the character arcs are great. The end credit scene with Thor And it's strange considering Loki, the level of threat that he is. We already knew it was something from the Avengers, between the first Thor and the Avengers, and even the recent Thor movie, The Dark World. Tom Hiddleston knows what he's doing when it comes to just playing that character, and he will play that character off hopefully pretty well in Ragnarok as well. Oh my. Oh, jeez. That was a brilliant scene too. It's like, so he may actually play a small part in Thor Ragnarok, which means we're gonna have to wait it literally from the time frame the film had come out, and probably from now, literally within less than a year from now till Thor Ragnarok comes out. Because then Thor Ragnarok also coming out in November for 2000. It's coming out in November 2017. It's November 2016. So yeah, it's going to be about a year till we finally get to see Strange again, which is ironic. Though we'll also get to see Hulk, so it's going to be interesting. And him going near Planetcoat level, so it's going to be fucking awesome. I hope it is. I mean, the fact that it's not even in the summer, though, it's kind of meh, but I don't think that matters. Fall usually does bring up some good stuff. Doctor Strange should have been a summer movie. Could have saved us from some of the crap we had. The blockbuster crap we had this year. My goodness gracious. And especially given, the relationship, and worked well with the relationship with Thor, especially when it's like, I don't do tea, and it just like turns it into a beer, and turns it into a beer. And every time he just chugs a beer, fills it up, it's like, ah. Thor's like, I like this guy. After that, he's like, I like this guy. You can tell he's like, I like this guy. This is like, that was so great. And he basically willingly helps him out, and he's willing to help him out, take down Loki and stuff. It's, I don't know where this fits in, though. Don't know if it fits before Ragnarok or sometime after or in between. I don't know. It's going to be interesting when it happens. But, and then the thing with Benjamin Bratt's and character, Mortar was, I guess they're setting up Mortar for a villain, but that wasn't much of anything compared to that Big Red scene. Big Red scene was just loads of awesome and worked really well, and just, we know Strange is coming back, maybe through Thor Ragnarok, and of course Infinity Wars, if he's, whatever part he'll play in that. And I guess that's all I can really say that's really super noteworthy. I mean, of course, spoilerish that I can think of at the top of my head right now. So, again, what did you guys think? Comment below, let me know. Rock that like button with thrust if you must. And, as always, guys, keep it random, keep it real, keep it rocking. And I'll see you guys in the next video, whatever that may be. I'm probably going to be slightly hardwired to self-destruct, but I don't know when that's going to happen, though. It's going to be a little tough to do that and get into that, given hunting. So, yeah, these next couple weeks and the holidays. Random recommendation will eventually come up sometime soon, too. I have time for that one, because I got a lot of other videos to do. So, yeah. Damn you lights. Alright. And I also got to go work. So, yep. Again, keep it random, keep it real, keep it rocking. Also follow and like me on Facebook. I have Google Plus, but I don't hardly use it as much. Unless it's, comments that come through via YouTube. So, there you go. Again, keep it random, keep it real, keep it rocking, and I will see you all next video. Take care.